noticed that your thoughts and the ideas and all the monkey chatter that goes through your head can actually wreak havoc on your day? And some days you can completely lose control of your thoughts and have one of the worst days, even though everything's going okay. Hi, it's Melanie Benson, and I'm America's leading small business optimizer. And this is the Small Business Optimizer Show, where we tackle the different subjects, tips, and strategies that as an entrepreneur and small business owner, you need to know so that you can make yourself, your team, and your business perform much better without having to work harder in your business. Now, today, I'm bringing you a really, really special guest because the mindset, all of those thoughts and ideas and all of that stuff that goes on in our head has such a huge impact on the actions we take or we don't take, and ultimately what it allows us to create. And this is somebody that I've personally turned to when I need to tweak my thoughts and get my brain performing in a better way. Let me introduce you to my friend Barbara Carey. Now, I got to tell you a little bit about Barbara. Barbara is a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a master neurolinguistic programmer practitioner like myself. She's also a Reiki practitioner, and she's a TV personality who's been featured doing this breakthrough work on channels like Bravo, the Learning Channel, Discovery Channel, and so much more. And I happened to find Barbara in one of the most amazing ways on Instagram. So if you're wondering if Instagram can work for your business, the answer is absolutely yes. But I was scrolling through and getting to know Instagram last year, and I was like, wow, like I really like what this woman's posting. And all of a sudden I realized that she could potentially help me with some tweaks that I needed to make to my own mindset and to really be able to get back on track. So I'm so grateful that Barbara agreed to squeeze us in today. So hi, Barbara. Thanks for being here.
Hi. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. And, as somebody who understands how essential having the right mindset is for success, I love being able to talk with other people who live and breathe this every day. And Barbara, I actually don't know the answer to this, but I'm really, really curious. How did you get started in the realm of helping people change the way their mind is functioning so they can perform better in life and in business?
Well, it probably started when I was about 12 years old. And my mother was very much into The Secret, even though they didn't call it The Secret then. And what happened was that I started seeing it work in my life. And I got so excited at such a young age, seeing that it worked in my life and how well it works and how easy it did, that I wanted to just tell the world. I wanted to just scream it from rooftops. So I ended up becoming a spiritual mind practitioner. And then I ended up taking courses and classes at HMI, which is the Hypnosis Motivation Institute. Not ever thinking I was going to become a hypnotherapist, just for my own self-knowledge. And about 6 months into the program, I thought, wow, I'm really good at this. I know this stuff. I'm actually helping change people's lives. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And literally the day, and about a year later, the day that I graduated was the very same day that I opened my office.
You and I keep finding all these places where our history is so aligned, because my mom was the person who was into it that kind of gave me that spark too. So I love finding all these ways that our lives are so similar.
It's so great to actually teach children. My son, Shane, an 11th grader, he ends up reading all of the book, Abraham's books and Napoleon Hill and Jack Canfield and Wayne Dyer, and he gets all excited about it, and I see the way that it works in his life, so it's exciting.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point, and who are the range of people that you work with in these different realms of reconditioning the mind for greater success?
Literally about 5 years old to 101-year-old. That's my oldest client, 101.
Oh, I love that. So it's never too late to upgrade your mindset.
Never.
That's awesome. Never. And never too early.
That's right.
Yeah, so the work you do is really about helping people. Your business name is The Confident Mind, and your work is really about helping the mind kind of get to a place where there is more confidence. So I'm curious, like when you're working with entrepreneurs and business owners and people who their success is really dependent on the actions they take, what is one of the most important things that we have to look at in terms of what's going on up here and how it's affecting our success or lack of success.
Exactly. Well, the first thing that I look at are their belief systems. First thing. Because remember, a thought is just a thought. Everyone says, oh, thoughts create things, but it's not true. Thoughts are attached to a belief, and the belief creates an emotion. The emotion vibrates and it attracts the like energy into it. Mm-hmm. So I have to sit there and say, okay, what are their beliefs? Where are their false beliefs? What's actually holding them back from taking certain action to allow them to become successful?
I love that. I love that. And it's so true. You know, when I grew up in the science of mind community. And so it was like the thought is affecting your reality. And I'm like, this feels like there's a disconnect here.
Right.
And it wasn't until I learned neuro-linguistic programming that I realized there was a piece in the middle of how thoughts affect your emotional state. And it's the emotional state that drives it. And, you know, just as disclosure, I have always been a very emotional person. For those of you that know human design, my human design is emotional decision making. And everything I do is whether or not my emotions feel aligned with something. So if I am overly emotional and in a negative state, I have not been able to do things that could seem really easy and obvious. So
without a doubt, I have an apartment that I rent out. And what happened is every single solitary time I would actually feel good about someone. It didn't matter what their credit was, didn't matter what their application looked like. If I felt that they were good and that this was going to work for me, without a doubt, it always did. One time I did not feel good about it and I had someone else talk me into her and it was a disaster. And I thought, never again, never.
So true. And, you know, in my own experience, I haven't talked into a lot of things over the years, things that maybe didn't feel good to me or I felt a little out of sorts, and every one of them turned into a total disaster if I wasn't emotionally congruent. So this brings up a really good point. As entrepreneurs, oftentimes there are things in our belief system that make us feel bad, even though in reality, they should be neutral, right? They're not good or bad. So how do we recognize the difference between I'm feeling aligned and something is feeling good to me and it's good for me, and I have beliefs that are sabotaging my ability to take action on the right things? How do you help people sort that out?
So basically what happens is somebody will come in and they'll state exactly what it is they require. Mm-hmm. I say the word require because we require air. Okay, we don't want air, we require air. So in my mind, when you're telling the universe you want something, it'll just keep saying, okay, great, we'll keep you wanting it instead of saying requiring. So that's the big thing that I find out first from my clients is what is it that you require? And then we do, you know, certain techniques and experiments, so to speak, and we'll figure out what's going on. What is their false belief? Where did it come from? And where's the subconscious mind allowing it to stay that way to feel safe? Because remember, all fear, when I first learned this, I didn't believe it, but all fear leads to a fear of death. And it's so true. Anything and everything that there's a fear, if you kept saying, and then what would happen, and then what would happen, and then what would happen, it would always be a fear of death. And the subconscious mind does everything in the world to keep you alive. So sometimes it ends up giving you these false actions, these false, not, I want to say commitment to the subconscious mind, but these actions and, what's another better word for that? That you keep doing the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah.
Patterns. Thank you. These patterns that end up not working for you at all. And it's keep giving you a result that you do not require. So we end up going from there, and then we kind of, with so many different types of tools in my toolbox that I use, and then we replace it with a better belief system, a belief system that works for them.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, so what I was thinking about earlier is, you know, there's oftentimes these places where you are taking action from this false belief. And so I think one of the signs is that if you're not getting the results that you desire, that's a sign that there's something totally out of sync. And if you are, like here's another thing, and a lot of people don't think about this, but if you're like comfortable all the time, my guess is your belief system is keeping you safe, which isn't bad. Like we want to be safe from a physical place, but
Right.
safe meaning from you're not stretching and growing and expanding your horizons. And as an entrepreneur, that can be really costly in the sense of you getting your work out in a bigger way, especially if you have a really big mission and you're what we call heart based and really have a drive to make a greater difference in the world.
Right, because being stagnant is the worst.
Yes.
It's just the worst. It's like you want to constantly grow. You always want to grow. You're never, I always equate it like with the cruise. When you're going on a cruise, you're actually wanting to enjoy the journey of the cruise, not just sitting there in your little room on the cruise ship waiting until you get to Hawaii. You want to go out on the ship, you want to explore, you want to learn, you want to do this, you want to enjoy the shows and the buffet and everything like that. And then when you actually get to Hawaii, one of the islands, let's say, then you enjoy that and then you're on to the next one. But at the same time, when you're back in ship, you're still enjoying everything on the ship.
Yeah, it's so true. And, I think there's so much that as entrepreneurs that we can accomplish when we understand simply if you can make it manifest in your mind and you can get emotionally connected to it, it literally opens up gates. And so, I thought what we might also talk about is if somebody feels stuck, they've been in this pattern, they're starting to realize, wow, okay, I'm in a pattern. I keep doing the same thing and I'm not getting better results. What's a couple things that they might need to take a look at to help get them unstuck or maybe out of procrastination or that fear of taking action?
Well, one thing is that we have to recognize and realize that the subconscious mind does not know the difference between fantasy and reality. It just knows what you are feeling and it believes it. It doesn't know time and space. It just believes whatever is going on. So what happens is that when you decide or anybody decides that they want to do something and then they notice that, oh, I never follow through, or I never do that, or I never do that. If they can be the silent witness and step back and say, okay, when I don't do this, why? What does it make me feel? How am I feeling inside? And a lot of people don't want to go there because it hurts. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, if you can just get through that pain, it will dissipate. But most people don't want to. They go, no, I can't go there. I don't want to go there. And I'm not talking about like dredging up all these painful memories or something like that. It's becoming the silent witness, pulling back and saying, why do I believe if I do this, this is going to happen? Where is it painful? Because remember, we do way more to avoid pain than we do to gain pleasure. So if we're requiring something that's going to be pleasurable, abundance, health, wealth, love, happiness, success, and we're not doing it, is because the pain of doing it is greater than the pleasure of receiving it. And then we have to sit there and figure out, okay, what's the pain? What's the pain? And we got to flip that around.
Yeah, it's so true. And I love this. You use this word require, because it sets up a different energy. I always looked at it as the minute you make a commitment in body, mind, and spirit to have something, providence starts to move. There's that old W.H. Murray quote, the minute one commits oneself, providence moves. Basically, the universe rushes in to make real that thing that you say you want. But what most people do is they're hesitant, or they're interested, or it's a nice idea, or there's so much, like you said, there's so much fear or angst about what could happen that they don't get that full commitment. They don't require it because it has different dimensions attached to it. One of the things that I notice is a lot of people get in conflict. Well, I think I want it, but I'm afraid I'll have to give this up. Or I think I that would be nice to have, but I'm not sure I'm willing to do what it takes.
Right.
So let's talk about really, like, how do you up-level your game if you're somebody who has a huge mission, but you're just not in action? Like, what do you have to teach your mind to do differently than you're doing right now?
Well, repetition. There's so many wonderful programs, like your program, somebody could listen to. They can listen to it in the car while they're working out, folding laundry. I mean, I always say to my clients, listen to stuff all the time. Because
Yes.
the more that you bombard your subconscious mind with that, the more you bombard it, the more the subconscious mind breaks down and starts believing it, it starts accepting it. And then because you're bombarding your mind, the universe does rush in and starts giving you things that you're like, oh my goodness, wow, this is really cool. Then the belief system starts moving more and more and more. And then when something comes up like, oh, that will never happen, that could never happen to me, or that will never, then you say to yourself, again, becoming this silent witness, pulling out of it. It's so important to pull out of it and to look at it and say, why? Why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? And then an answer will come up that's usually negative. And then you sit there and say, I am so happy and grateful now that, and you would say what it is that you require. And you keep saying it over and over again until it like literally bombards. I used to call them treasure maps, but now they call them vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
They are amazing. I mean, sometimes it's a little scary that the stuff is on there and how quickly it comes to you. So you're like, whoa, I have to make sure I really, really, really require what I'm putting on here before I put it on there.
Yeah,
As
that's
a
good
careful
insight.
what you wish for. Yes.
Exactly. So I love where what we're exposing here or revealing, I guess you might say, in terms of what can really be in the way. Sometimes people get confused and they think I just need to do more, or like I'm not doing the right things. And that might be true, but it probably starts in the messaging that's going on in your mind. So Barbara, one of the things that I love to share with people, because we can listen to an expert, we can listen to somebody who gets these great results from everybody else, and then all of a sudden, we start to fantasize that this person must have this perfect life and everything's, all hunky-dory. But what we know is we're always learning and growing behind the scenes. It's what makes us really profound mentors and guides. And I'm curious, would you be willing to share maybe something about your own journey and something that you had to tackle in your own mindset? Because you've got a great business. You work in Malibu. Like I've been to your office. It's right across the beach. And, your home is down there in Malibu, and, you have a nice life, and you're doing amazing work in the world. You have a pretty full practice, at least it seems that way. And I'm curious, like, what have you had to conquer in your own self to get there?
Well, what I know for a fact is that, okay, here's a perfect example of something that happened to me yesterday. I went into a newspaper and I pitched them an idea column, and the editor loved it. He said, okay, we are like 95% doing this. He brings it to corporate and corporate says, no, not going to do it. Now, I could have come home and been all bummed out and said, oh no, I can't believe they don't want to do this. And I really am excited, blah, 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 blah. But no, I wouldn't allow myself to go there. I said, okay, then what is it that they are looking for that I can fulfill their need? What is it? So I called the editor back. I go, okay, what's corporate want? What are they looking for? What is it? And then he told me, and I said, okay, give me a chance to work this out. I will send you a proposal of exactly what it is that I believe that I can help not only your paper, but your viewers. And of course, allowing myself to feel like I'm contributing. And that's what I did. So I could have easily just turned around and said, oh, forget it. Nobody wanted it. If they don't want it, no one else is going to want it. You have to just say, forget it. This is what I love about Edison. I mean, and everyone knows this story. I mean, like 1,000 different times he failed, and he had 1,000 different patents, but he kept going. He kept going. He didn't allow those failures to set him back. Yeah. He says, no, okay, fine. Maybe this is not what the universe is telling me to do. Maybe it's saying, you know what, Barbara, don't have this particular column. Have this column instead. We want you to have the column, but maybe we need to tweak it a little more. So we're going to say no to this one, but we want to make sure that you do still go on there and get exactly what it is that's the highest good for all involved.
What if achieving higher levels of success was more about changing your thoughts than it was about changing your strategies? Hi, it's Melanie Benson Strick, and I've got a quick resource for you. I want to give you a free copy of my new book, Rewired for Wealth. And inside this book, I'm going to teach you what I personally learned about how my thoughts were either sabotaging or setting me up to create success and put it on autopilot. Now, this book is free for a limited time. You can grab it now at rewiredforwealth.com. redefining.com. Now let's get back to our program.
Yeah, so it's having the confidence to be resourceful, and instead of taking no at no,
Right.
no just means that wasn't the right angle, but what would be the right one? And this applies to sales, it applies to opportunities, it applies to, goals. People get really stuck on this is my goal, and if they don't achieve that goal, then it's like, devastating.
Oh, geez. Okay, this is my belief. So powerfully, I believe this, is that every person, place, or thing is a vessel through in which the universe comes through directly to us.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's say that I believe, and that this is my goal, that I'm going to do this one thing and that's all there is to it. And it's not coming through any vessel. And I'm saying, oh no, nobody wants it, whatever. But the universe knows. It has eyes. It's got a bird's eye view of which vessel, whether it's a person, place, or thing, in which that's going to come through directly to us. So we have to be open. That's why it always says, let the universe do the how. Let the universe figure out how it's going to come to you. You just need to go out there, take action toward what it is that you want. And if no's are coming down, then I just say, that's not my vessel. Okay, I'm waiting for my vessel. Yes. That's not the way it's going to come to me through this particular person, place, or thing.
Yeah, it's redefining failure and recognizing that part of what we have to teach our mind as entrepreneurs is that failure is information,
right,
not a definition of who we are.
Absolutely. Just like in NLP, they say there's no such thing as failure, only feedback.
Yes. Yeah. So has there been a failure in your life that helped you really get the right feedback to do your work in a better and bigger way?
Here's a perfect example, is that I was dealing with infertility for 4 years. And I get pregnant and I have a miscarriage. And I lost all faith because I thought, how could this be taken away from me after waiting 4 treacherous long years? So about almost a year and a half later, I ended up in the hospital. And I was in the hospital for 10 days. Now, insurance companies throw you out like after day one. They don't even let you spend the night. I was there for 10 days and no one, they had specialists come in and this, no one could figure out what was wrong with me. No one. They took test after test after test. Everything came back negative, negative, negative. So finally, I said to myself, I don't need a child to fulfill my life. I don't need a child. I don't have to get pregnant. I have other things in my life that I can literally put my energy toward. True story. I came back from the hospital feeling renewed. I end up becoming Mrs. California. And 3 weeks later, and I'm not even a beauty pageant person. I did it because of they were going to help out my organization that I was volunteering for. 3 weeks later, I'm pregnant. 3 weeks without we're like, wait, what? Because I let go. I literally let go. It was, the law of detachment. I let go. And I ended up with so much publicity because I was the first person in history to be pregnant going into the Mrs. USA pageant pregnant. And there you go. And I have 2 beautiful children, and again, with no infertility, medical assistant or anything, it's because I let go.
Yeah, you shift the energy. You shift the energy
yes.
of how, and we create tension when we're so attached to an outcome and it needing to look a certain way. And when you can let go and say, okay, I just know I'm meant to be a vessel. I'm meant to fulfill on the greatest level, whatever this is supposed to look like. A lot of times the very thing we want the most shows up because
Absolutely.
We're not like creating that tension. And I think of it as like you're stepping on a garden hose. You're cutting off the supply or the flow.
Absolutely.
by getting too attached. So
and that's what I do with my clients when I go in. I used to believe, okay, I know exactly what they need. I'm going to give them this, and this. And now I go in and I say to the universe, let me be your vessel. You know what they need to hear. You know what it is. Come through me to let them hear it.
Yeah. So I want to ask you one last question before we wrap up. I know that a lot of people have different spiritual processes and paths, and everybody's got different religions. I know a lot of times people who don't consider themselves more spiritual, but maybe more Christian or more fundamentally based, they struggle with this concept, and it maybe they have a harder time tapping into the mindset work. What could we say to somebody who maybe is of a different religious approach to life or a different religion to help them with the mindset work and really being able to tap into this, abundance that's in the universe?
Well, the first thing I would ask them is, what is your belief system? What do you believe? So let's say they believe that they're, because it's all the same verbiage. It's whether it's God, the universe, divine source, divine energy, it's all the same. But let's say someone is very stuck on this, know that there's a God and again, it's all the same. I mean, I use the word universe. And the one thing that I would say is whatever your belief is, know that whatever you believe in wants you to be happy, that you are here. You're here for a purpose. I'm here for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. We're here for a purpose. And we won just by being on this earth. I mean, think about this. If there's approximately 200 million sperm and we're the ones that won, that's better odds than the lottery. I mean, we won just by being here. So the fact that we're here, we know that we have a purpose and that God wants us to fulfill our purpose, wants us to give our gift to the world. Mm-hmm. So when you start realizing, no matter what you believe in, the higher power, the source, God, anything, let that come through you and express through you exactly why you're here. What are you here for? And a lot of people say, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. And I go, well, what are you passionate about? One woman said, well, I'm passionate about shopping. I like to shop. And so we did all of this work, and she ended up being a personal shopper for people. And she made them happy. She was happy. She was making good money. No matter what your passion is, no matter what it is, when you follow your passion, abundance will follow you.
Yeah. So that old saying is true. Do what you love and the money will follow.
Absolutely.
You just have to maybe be open to a different model of how it makes you money. So
right,
I love that.
Exactly.
So let's share a couple of resources before we wrap up. First of all, do you have a favorite quote that helps you stay inspired?
Oh, absolutely. Ask and ye shall receive if only ye believe.
Of course, that's perfect.
Yes.
And if you were going to recommend a book for somebody to read to, as you're doing this daily, like get your mind in the right place, infuse your mind with the right ideas so that you can keep it focused in the right place, what would be a book that somebody could pick up and read, or an audio program that you love?
Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth.
I love that book.
My life, especially the chapter, I think it's chapter 4 on the pain body. When you recognize your pain body and how you activate it in others and whatnot, wow, talking about releasing emotions and not going there. That book was, and Oprah, I'm sure she still has it on iTunes or for free or her site, is she speaks to Eckhart about every chapter in that book. And I think it's about 90 minutes long per chapter. So I would suggest that you read the chapter, then go listen to Oprah and Eckhart talking. And it's, amazing. Yeah.
She did a Super Soul Sunday interview that if you record those for your DVR, she circles them back or cycles them back around, and it's a really profoundly impactful interview.
Oh, so I love Super Soul Sunday. Absolutely. Yeah. I watch it every week.
So Barbara, let's say somebody really wants to tap into you as the resource. You have a website that we could send everybody to?
Absolutely. I have a website. It's theconfidentmind.com. I have Instagram, which is The Confident Mind. Yes. I have a Twitter, which is Barbara J. Carey. And I have a Facebook page, which is Barbara Jean Carey Shoot. Although I don't do a lot of business stuff on there, but mostly if you go to my website, if you go to Instagram, you'll find emails, you'll find my phone number. You can actually, every week I put a free quote up on a phone number, which is DocMind, DocMind, 323 DocMind. And once a week, I just put on some sort of different quote that somebody can listen to. And I mean, like, not just one quote, it's a whole, like about a 30-second long or to a minute long.
So like an inspirational message for everybody.
Exactly,
Oh,
yes.
That's nice. That's a great idea. I love
Yes,
that. And
it's good.
I have to say, every mentor needs a mentor. Having been able to turn to Barbara to do my own, mindset upgrade and, tackle some stuff that was coming up for me, it was really extraordinary. And I'm really grateful I get to do this for people. And sometimes the mentors need people to go to.
Well, I'm grateful that you found me. And like I said, like attracts like, so like energy attracts like energy. So of course you would find me on Instagram.
Of course. Barbara, thanks so much for being here. I highly recommend you go follow Barbara on Instagram. She shares some great quotes. So it's, again, another great way to keep your mind in the right place. Check her out on her website, theconfidentmind.com, and, fill your toolbox with the resources to keep your mind in the right place. We'll also share with you the Rewired for Wealth book if that's something that will help you. It's free right now, and you can download that and make that one of your resources you can read as well. So, all right, everybody, we'll be back again next week for another episode of Small Business Optimizer. In the meantime, take stock, really look at your choices in life, the things you're taking action on, and the things that maybe you're holding back on. If you were going to have a breakthrough that you create all on your own, it's going to be because you recognize what belief is in the way of you taking the action and getting the results that you deserve. Think about that. Share your ideas on the blog at melaniebensonstrick.com, and we'll see you again next week. Thanks again, Barbara. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.